How's it going, people? And welcome back to the project. Today, I'm going to be going through every single supplement that I'm currently taking. So we're going to start off with just more of the basics that everyone should or might have in their stack. And then we'll go through a few kind of the health supplements that I have in place at the moment, a few things that I've been using for the diet specifically, and then a few things for sleep as well. So we're going to cover all categories here. First up, we've got protein. Now, not essential, but very useful in order just to make sure we are hitting our baseline protein intake. And it's just a nice, tasty, easy way to be adding protein to a meal. I love the Perform way at the moment. Carrot cake, cinnamon donut, salty caramel, all of them, to be honest, they all taste amazing. Not something to be kind of abused. Obviously, making sure that we are getting a large majority of our protein intake from whole food sources is going to be key. But in terms of digestibility and in terms of ease of access, in terms of just being able to chuck a couple of scoops in a shaker and drink it down, protein is a good baseline to have in the cupboard ready to use. Another one that pretty much everyone should be having is creatine. Now, creatine's the most researched supplement out there, and its ability to improve our performance and strength within the gym is unquestioned. And it's just a case of taking 5 grams a day, every single day. There's no need to cycle on and off of it. There's no need to load at the beginning. That was a kind of old thought process in terms of when you start creatine, you have to take 20-30 grams a day for 4 or 5 days to saturate your stores. You don't need to do that. 5 grams a day, every day, and you're covered. And not only does it support your performance in the gym, there's also a lot of research coming out now to support its neuroprotective effects as well on your brain long term. So definitely a good staple to have in place. Another one that links into training that I haven't been using recently, down to the fact that I've been having carbohydrates outside of my training in order to give myself as much food as possible, is highly branched cyclic dextrin, which is essentially a carb source that we can use intra-workout in order to aid performance, especially if you're training for longer durations and you do get to the point where you start to fatigue a little bit towards the back end of the session. We can be taking on some nice simple carbs like this that digest well. This essentially passes through the stomach lining nice and easily. It doesn't require a lot of breakdown, which isn't what we want during a training session. Carbohydrates are good in terms of fueling your performance, but if we are intaking things that require digestion, then that's going to actually take away from your performance in the gym. So highly branched cyclic dextrin, definitely something that I would use within a gaining phase, especially when food gets very, very high and it's actually tough to get in that food because we've got so much carbohydrates coming on board. That intra-workout window is a brilliant place to actually use those. Something that I haven't got here that I would pair with highly branched cyclic dextrin is essential amino acids as well. We see a larger uptake of those amino acids when they're placed alongside carbohydrates as well, which can help to mitigate muscle protein breakdown within a training session, which may be beneficial, especially when dieting as well. I have used EAAs. I haven't actually been using them as much within this diet. That's probably something that I'll use a lot more next time on reflection. Highly branched cyclic dextrin, the next one there. Next up, we have electrolytes. Now, these are the supplement needs electrolytes by Dr. Dean St. Mart. Probably the tastiest, best electrolyte that I've found on the market, just in terms of its panel and ratio between potassium, sodium, magnesium, etc. I would usually have this in the morning, either upon wake, or at the moment I'm doing cardio in the morning, so I'll usually have it after my cardio. Throughout the morning, we are going to be dehydrated. We've just gone 8-9 hours without drinking any water or having any sort of electrolytes on board, so it's important to be using this upon wake in the morning like that. We can also use it around the training window, especially in hotter climates when we are sweating more and depleting ourselves of those electrolytes. Now, they tie in massively to muscle function, to brain function, and overall hydration as well. So making sure that electrolyte status is balanced is key. Cool, what are we going to go for next? Right, then on to some more health-based supplements that will just make sure we are hitting our baseline levels of the nutrients that we should be getting from our nutrition, but sometimes we don't. So one big one is omega-3. So if you're not eating a lot of fatty fishes within your diet and you're not getting a lot of omega-3 through your nutrition, then this is essential. And I'd say it's essential for the majority of people because most people won't be getting enough from their nutrition. So again, just a good quality omega-3. It is important to be going for the good quality stuff here, looking specifically at the EPA and DHA intake of each capsule there as well. You do see that the cheaper supplements do have a very low DHA and EPA intake, which are the important guys where health is concerned. So omega-3 is another brilliant one there. Next up, a good quality multivitamin. Again, this one's from Supplement Needs. I also use the Life Extension brand. I think it's called the two a day multivitamin. This is very well dosed across all panels in terms of all of your B vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin E, all of the kind of smaller guys in terms of chromium, copper, iodine, all of those things that, again, we need to be making sure we're getting that minimum daily requirement in order to function as best as possible from all aspects. And that should be everyone's goal, regardless of whether you're going through any sort of kind of body transformation like I am at the moment. Just looking after your overall health and little things like that can help massively. If we are deficient in any nutrients, and that can have quite a profound impact on how we feel and how healthy we are long term. So another one that is fairly cheap, easy to take. Just take one in the morning or one at night, and you're good to go. Next up, we have vitamin C. So another basic supplement that we can have in our daily regime. So we know that having vitamin C within your supplement regime could potentially help in terms of your overall immune function, especially when it comes to decreasing the frequency that you catch common colds and also the severity of those when you do catch them. So that's actually a common misconception in terms of vitamin C helping cure a cold, whereas it has more of a preventative impact on that. So just having that in daily, just 1,000 milligrams a day will do the trick. So yeah, another simple one. This is the Redcon one, vitamin C, but any vitamin C will do. Next up, another one just to have in your overall health stack that is very beneficial just in terms of your overall immune function is glutathione. Now, I have the liposomal glutathione from Supplement Needs here. Glutathione is basically one of our most prominent antioxidants within the body, and it can help fight off infection, etc. It will also be beneficial for those out there that are using anabolics just to support that whole system. Fairly expensive. You can get a supplement known as N-acetylcysteine, or abbreviated to NAC, which is essentially the precursor to glutathione, which is cheaper and still fairly effective. So if you haven't got the disposable income to be going for liposomal glutathione, go for NAC instead. So next up, we've got curcumin, again, a liposomal version from Supplement Needs. I've been using this more and more towards the back end of prep, considering that it's a fairly potent anti-inflammatory, and we know that the body is going to be more and more stressed as we're pushing it harder with training and as we're pushing it harder in terms of cardio and the steps and just overall stress load. So this can help massively just in terms of managing that overall inflammation systemically. I wouldn't use this post-workout because there is efficacy in terms of that inflammation response from training being a mechanism of hypertrophy. So we don't want to do anything to blunt that within the post-workout window. So things like curcumin, things like NSAIDs like ibuprofen, or I've seen people use CBD oil post-workout. Stay away from that. Allow that inflammation response to do its job in terms of signaling. So I use this outside of the training window, morning and evening potentially. And yeah, again, another one that isn't essential, but would be beneficial. So next up, something that I've been using specifically for this dieting phase is yohimbine HCl. I have actually done a video explaining this in more detail. So if you click the card up here, I will direct you towards that video in which I do explain it. But in terms of a general overview, this is going to have a very slight but beneficial impact in terms of our ability to utilize body fat as fuel, especially throughout those fasted hours throughout the morning. And again, especially if we're performing non-glycolytic demanding exercise throughout those fasted periods. And by non-glycolytic exercise, I mean just very low intensity, aka going out for a long walk, doing some low intensity steady state cardio, which I was pairing this with. I've actually taken this out now because I'm in the close vicinity of the photo shoot. This being a fairly strong stimulant will create a stress, which could lead to water retention, which isn't what we want when we are very lean and we're trying to look as best as possible for a shoot or for a show. This is approved by all natural federations, so you can use it within natural bodybuilding legally. So one that is definitely a consideration for someone taking their body composition to that extreme and just needing that extra 1% to help them along in terms of their ability to use body fat. Right, and on to my favorite supplement of them all. Who can guess it?
Yeah, new whip outside is different. Ask me where to cop it, mind your business. New whip outside, I'm vicious. Ask me where to cop it, I'll admit it. Can't you tell that I'm riding with it? 5 or 6, I can't find those digits. Line them up and say mind your business, don't you know?